Hello, everybody, and welcome back to my channel. Today is going to be a little bit different, and this video may be long, but hopefully I won't make it too long. But I did not think that I was going to be at this point where I was going to be telling my testimonies, and this is just one of many testimonies that I'm going to get ready to share. I want to kind of lay a little bit of a foundation. During this year, not this year, but 3 years ago, we were struggling. We were trying to make ends meet. And from there, we ended up staying like with different people, ended up moving from place to place. I think within one school year, my kids went to 3 different schools. That's how many times we ended up moving within a year. And that's a lot by itself. We were behind on bills, and my husband told me, he was like, hey, babe, I'm going to have to work extra this week. I already have a day planned for me to go into work. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. I know we're going to need the extra money. And the money that he was going to make doing overtime on the day that he planned was the money that was supposed to save us from this eviction that we were getting ready to experience. Started off as a normal day. My husband woke up early in the morning and he was like, hey, babe, I'm getting ready to go to work. And, and that's it. I'm like, okay, cool. That's fine. So he goes to work, and within, I think, like an hour and a half after he left, my daughter started to feel really sick. And mind you, if nobody knows, my daughter, she has sickle cell. So when and for those who don't know what sickle cell is, I'm not going to explain it in this video. You can definitely look it up, but it's a blood condition. But thank God at that time, my daughter wasn't going through a crisis. She was just really, really sick. And that's another thing. Whenever a person with sickle cell, when they have a temperature over, for me, and from what my doctor says for my daughter, if her temperature is over 100.8, I have to immediately take her to the hospital. Like, I can't give her Tylenol. I can't give her Motrin to bring the fever down because it may mask over any type of infections that they will have or that they could have. So after an hour and a half, once my husband left, I saw that my daughter was kind of slumped over. Like she was like, Mommy, I'm not feeling good. And I immediately, I touched her with the back of my hand, and I knew she was burning up, but I ended up taking her temperature anyway, and it ended up being 103, thinking 103.1. So I had to immediately call my husband. I'm like, babe, Brasia is having a fever. We have to go to the hospital like now. We didn't have a second car. There was nobody else around us to bring her to the hospital. So my husband had to basically cut his overtime day short by I don't know how many hours. And of course he left. He was like, we'll figure out a way to get the money for this rent or whatever. But right now we just have to take her to the hospital. Came home, took her to the hospital, got her checked in. And of course, during this time, we found out that she had to be admitted into the hospital because when she went there, they were giving her medicine. They saw that her fever kept spiking. They saw that, the medicines that they were giving her was not working. So already from the back of my mind, I'm like, God, what is going on? How are we going to pay the rent? My husband was trying to work extra today so we won't have to worry about getting an eviction. And of course, this day was like the last day that was on the check that he was going to get to pay the rent. So now we're like, okay, now we're going to be behind. Now what we're going to do? So in my mind, I'm stressed out. I'm worried. I'm like, okay, how are we going to get the money? I wasn't working at the time because I think maybe like 3 weeks after this happened, I got let go from my job because I was sick to the point of, I don't want to say death, but I mean, I was bad. Like, it was really, really bad. But it got to the point where my job was like, hey, we can't keep you. If you're that sick, you're going to just have to go. I'm like, okay. So going back to the hospital, she's up in her room. I think a few hours has passed, and I think this was like late, not too late at night, but around nighttime. We had missed dinner. So, of course, she said that she was starting to feel a little bit better, but she wanted something to eat. And I think at the time, I had less than $100 in my bank account at the time. And I was like, okay, baby, well, I had a little extra money. I'm like, at least we can get you some food. She wanted Panda Express. I DoorDashed it. I was like, okay, cool. Let's go ahead. Let's get you some Panda Express, and let's get you something to eat. I get a message on my phone, and of course, it's the dasher. It's the guy that's doing our order, and he's very nice. He's very sweet. He's asking, do we need extra this? Do we need extra that? Do you want napkins? And I'm telling him everything, that we need. And then he tells me that, he's on his way. Out of the blue, I hear God in my head, and I hear it clear as day. And he says, I want you to tip this man $50. Mind you, I just told you I only had like $100. And then, of course, with me doing the order, so I already spent, over $20. So I had $70 left. And then God was like, I want you to tip him $50. What? I'm like, okay. So in my mind, I think I'm going crazy. I'm like, God, there's no way I can tip this man $50. I'm like, you can't. I'm like, I can't afford it. I'm like, I just can't. But it weighed on me so heavy. And that's how I know when God talks to me, because especially if he tells me to do something and then it doesn't make sense, but then I feel like a pressure. Like I literally feel like it's like weights on my chest. And it's like, I feel like it's important. I'm like, okay, I got to do this. So I'm like, okay, God. And at this point, I had already tipped him. So I was like, well, maybe, okay. I'm like, how am I supposed to tip him? Then I'm like, oh, maybe I'll just go ahead and once I see him, I'll ask him maybe like for his Cash App or something, or I'll just talk to him and see, how I can give him the extra 50, right? Okay. So he messaged me. He tells me he's downstairs. I'm walking downstairs. And I'm like, okay, I got to tell this guy. I got to talk to this guy. I'm planning in my head because I'm like, how am I going to tell him, hey, I want to tip you a little bit more, but I know I had already tipped. And at that point, I didn't know how to, add tips to the DoorDash. I think that was like my first time using DoorDash. And I was like, okay, I'm just having these conversations in my head. And as I'm going downstairs, of course, I hear the enemy talking in my head. Like, no, you're not supposed to do that. No, you're not supposed to do that. That's so foolish. Why would you basically give all you have to someone you don't even know? Just all kinds of stuff that was just going on in my head. And I'm trying to ignore it, and I'm pushing myself, and I'm like, okay, I'm getting downstairs. I meet the guy, and like I said, very nice guy. He hands me the food, and just before I was getting ready to stop him to see if I can pull him to the side, the security officer in front of the hospital is pushing him along and saying, hey, you gotta go, you gotta go, you gotta go. And I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, wait, how am I supposed to give this guy $50? And then he's rushing off and he says, have a blessed evening. And he jumps in his car and he goes. And now I'm looking like, how am I supposed to give this guy $50? And of course, I take the food, and now at this point, I feel like I'm going crazy. I feel like I'm like, okay, Lord, this don't make sense to me. There's no way in the world. I know that I heard you. Why wasn't I able to give this guy $50? So, of course, I'm getting ready to go up the elevator to go back up to the room, get my daughter her food. And of course, I hear it again. I hear the devil just talking in my ear. See, I told you weren't supposed to give that man $50, and you think you were supposed to do this and do that. You heard wrong. You did this, did that. Just all kinds of stuff. Just trying to get me to be discouraged, right? So I'm like, God, so now I had to talk with God. I was like, God, I'm like, so what am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to give this guy $50, right? As soon as I got off the elevator, I get a chime on my phone. And I kid you not, I look down and DoorDash had this new feature at the time that you're able to talk to your dasher 10 minutes after your order has been delivered. So in my mind, I'm like, oh, There we go. I'm just going to tell him, hey, I need your Cash App so I can tip you $50. And before I was able to send the message, he messaged me first. He was saying, thank you for being so kind. So I messaged him. I said, look, I don't know what religion you're in. I don't know how you are with God, but don't think I'm a crazy person. You know what I mean? But God told me, before you told me all of this, God told me to tip you $50. So if you can send me your Cash App, I can send you the $50. I gave my $50, and then I was like, all right, Lord, I did what you wanted me to do. I see why you wanted me to do this thing. But now after all that happened, I'm like, now what? You know, I'm still in the situation. We're still gonna be behind when it comes to rent. We're still needing things. And I'm like, all right, Lord, you told me to do this. I'm just gonna trust you. Right? The next day, doctor comes in, and the doctor's like, hey, you know, she's doing a lot better. You know, blood work's looking good. Tests are looking good. Now, you guys can actually go ahead and prepare so you guys can go home. I'm like, well, thank the Lord for that, because normally, you know, she'll have to stay in the hospital for a couple days, but thankfully it was only for just overnight. Thank God. So fast forward, we go home, and of course, you know, life just, I don't want to say go back to normal, but you know, we're at home. We're thankful that she's home. But now my husband and I were sitting here, and we're kind of worried, and we're like, okay, so like, what's next? Like, what do we need to do? And I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, do I need to try to go to find another job? Do I need to try to go and do something extra? And of course, we only had like a couple of days before rent was due. So I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to get this extra money. But I'm like, Lord, whatever it is that we need to do, I'm like, you got to tell me what to do, Lord. Because at this point, I'm like, I don't know. I think 2 days after I came, 2 days after when we came home, I get a text message from a previous graphic design client of mine. Because at the time I was doing, you know, graphic design jobs here and there, just to try to bring in like some extra money. She texted me, and she was like, hey, Brittany, I'm just checking on you and your daughter. You know, I saw that you guys were in the hospital. You know, I just wanted to check in on you guys. And I told her, I said, hey, like, we're doing good, you know, just making conversation. And out of the blue, she asked me this crazy question. She says, Brittany, she says, I don't know why, but it dropped on my heart to ask you, how much is your rent? At this point, y'all, I'm shaking. I'm like, oh my God. I told her, I said, it's crazy that you asked that question. I know it was God that gave you, that question to ask me. But I told her, I said, Miss B, I said, you know, my rent right now is $900. You know, we need $900 for our rent. She says, okay. She says, I'm going to be obedient. And she says, even though $900 is all I have, she said, since $900 is all I have, I'm going to be obedient and give it to you. She says, let me know the day that you want to come pick up this money so you can pay your rent. And from that day forward, that taught me that it does not matter. It doesn't matter the instruction that he gives you. It doesn't matter if it doesn't make sense. It doesn't matter if it doesn't make sense. Follow God. Be obedient to what he tells you, and he's going to bless you, period. I mean, that's just what it is. And that $50, that was a test. That was a test to see if I would basically give my all. And because I did, because I acted out of obedience, because I acted and moved when God told me to move, he turned around and he allowed somebody else, he put it on somebody else's heart to give all they have for my need. Y'all, I'm telling you, and people think I'm crazy when I preach this and I say this every single day. I tell people every single day, you have to obey God. You have to obey him. You have to. And then also, if you are in this position to where you have heard God say something, you heard God tell you to do something, and you're nervous and you're scared, don't be afraid. You don't know what's going to happen. You may even think you're going out your mind. Do not miss the opportunity for you to be blessed. Because on the other side of obedience is blessings, is provision. That's what it is, guys. On the other side of obedience is blessings and provision. And I kid you not, that is why I'm here at the point in my life where I am right now. It's all because of obedience. Why my husband went from only making $800 every 2 weeks to now he brings home $4,000 to sometimes $6,000 every 2 weeks, having a 6-figure job, all because of obedience. And just yesterday, I closed my first real estate deal yesterday, all because of obedience. Like, I promise you, it's... all right, y'all. I'm not going to sit here and ramble. I wanted to do what I said I was going to do, which was to tell that testimony. And yeah, guys, if you're at a place where you know for a fact that you heard God tell you to do something and it seems scary, press forward and please just do what God has told you to do. I sound like a broken record half the time, but I kid you not, be obedient. Do what he says and watch how God blows your mind. Watch how he blows your mind. God, you are going to be glad that you did. I'm telling you, you are going to be so glad that you did. Yeah, you're going to be so glad. Well, guys, that's it. Because I'm trying not to ramble. I'm not going to ramble because I have a lot of stuff that I have to do today, but I promised myself that I would do at least a video a week. And I'm keeping my promise to myself. And guys, again, I thank you. I love you guys. Thank you for all the support that you guys have given me so far. So guys, please do me a favor. Like, comment, and subscribe. And guys, I will see you next week on the next video. Y'all have a blessed one.